Hello, and welcome to this video presentation. My name is Paul Brett. I'm a Senior Software Support Analyst supporting the Transformation Extender product from IBM. The topic for this video is using ITX for Julian Gregorian date conversions. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett IBM. In this practical demonstration of techniques and features, I will be converting a Julian date to a Gregorian date. It is worth doing a demonstration of the various functions for text and date manipulation, but as you will see, sometimes the built-in power of the Typetree definitions can save you a whole lot of hassle. For the purposes of this demonstration, we will be using the Julian date of 23218, which has a Gregorian equivalent of the 6th of August 2023. Or 06/08/2023. We're going to start this demonstration in the ITX 10120 Design Studio, and as you can see I have created a new workspace with no projects, and the first thing I'm going to do is create an extender project called Date Conversion. In my workspace directory we have a folder called Date Conversion, and this is where my project files will go. The first thing I need is a type tree. Here's one I created earlier called generic, which I'm just going to copy across. I'm going to refresh my project, and here's my type tree generic. This has a few standard items that I'm going to use in it, one of which is text item. So let's go straight to that now. I'm going to create a new map source file called test.mms. And within the map source file I'm going to create a new map called test1. Within my new map I'm going to create a new input card. The card is going to use the generic type tree copied across earlier, and the object from that tree is going to be a text item. Rather than reading the value from a file, I'm going to use the echo adapter and directly insert the value that I'm going to be using. On the output side I'm going to create an output card. Again, I'm going to use the generic type tree, and the object from that tree is going to be date item. I'm going to write to a file called output.txt. Now we need to create a rule in our output card. I'm going to use the function toDateTime. This takes two arguments. The second argument is going to be the picture of the format of the data that I'm going to bring in. And the data I'm going to bring in is going to be YYMMDD. The data that I'm going to be bringing in is the first two characters of in1, which is my year, 23, and I'm also going to hard code the 1st of January as a starter. So we need left of in1, 2, and then add on to that 0101. So there's the immediate function started. So I'm going to save, build, and run this map. Over here in miscellaneous we've now got an output.txt, and if I bring that up on screen you will see that my function has created the 1st of January 2023. Okay, so that's used the first two digits of my input to get the year. Next we're going to need to use the last three digits of my input and use the add days function onto the current date that we have already and see what the result is then. So let's go with an add days, open bracket. Now the number of days we want to bring in needs to be a number, and as we know this is currently a text item, so we're going to use a toNumber function. Inside there we're going to bring in the mid part of in1, starting from character 3 for 3 characters. Okay, so we're bringing in the last 3 digits, using it in a toNumber function to turn it into a number, and then adding on those number of days to the date we already have. If I save, build, and run this map, you will note that the date I get is 1 day out. It's showing the 7th of August, when the date that I was using on input, I remind you, was the 6th of August. And the reason for this is that the start date was the 1st of January, and that should be inclusive. So we need to remove 1 from this toNumber. So if I just put my cursor in there and put in -1, save, build and run, we now get the correct answer, the 6th of August 2023. So this is how you slowly build up your functions to get to the eventual answer you'll want. This is map test 1. This is using functions to get to the data. Quite complicated and prone to potentially some errors if the dates that you're using aren't in the current century. We're assuming 20 here. So let's move on to the second way to transform this data. I'm going to create a new extender project, date conversion 2, and if we go here to our disk space again, date conversion 2 has arrived, and I need a new type tree. Here's one I created earlier. Bring that in, refresh my project, and then have a look at this type tree. Okay, in my type tree I have two types of date. I have the Julian date, which has been defined as YYDDD, and I have the Gregorian date, which has been defined as DD/MM/CCYY. Now the definitions of these have been put in to make my mapping a whole lot easier, but I shall bring up the properties and you can either type these in manually or you can use the object picker to pick them from the list. YYDD is available there, or if the particular pattern you're looking for is not available, you can go with custom, click the picker here and then pick the general items that you need. Maybe you need CCYY followed by DDD. It's another form of Julian date that has 7 digits, so that includes the century. Closing the type tree for now, let's start a new map file, test.mms. Within the map source I'm going to create a new map. This map is going to be called test2. I create a new input card. I use the type tree from my current project. The object I'm going to be picking is the Julian date, and again I'm going to be using the echo adapter to send in 23218. Over on the output side we're going to create an output card. We're going to pick from generic the Gregorian date, write out to a file called output2.txt. And if I drag and drop into out, no complicated functions required, the type tree is going to do all the hard work. I've told it it's a Julian date, it's going to read into memory as a Julian date and be a date internally. Mapping it across to the output side, it's still a date, but it will be output in the new format as defined by the object I've picked for my output card. So if I save, build and run, the map has completed successfully. Within miscellaneous I have an output 2, and as you can see, output 2 contains the 6th of August 2023 as per the previous test. So there we have it. Two maps, test 1 using functions and expressions to get to the data, and test 2 using type tree properties to get to the data. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video presentation today. If you found the content interesting and informative, hit that like button. Perhaps leave me a comment. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel as I release content such as this on a regular basis. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett IBM. Thank you.